some of you can find your way back here. Hopefully this looks better. Could anybody let me know? Because I think I worked out the kinks. And I'm pretty sure that this is back on horizontal. They updated everything here on YouTube, so I had to switch all of these settings. But I'm pretty sure it should look better now. I don't think there should be any problems, and we should be able to go forward here very quickly. Once one person tells me that it's on horizontal, we're going to get going in a heavy fashion. How's it look, David? Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, John. Good evening. Love you, Tom. Want to see you bald. Yeah, I know. I bet everybody does. But, excuse me. I'll let everybody get back in here. Let me just timestamp this real quick. Good evening. 6:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Wednesday, August 7th, 2024. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Looks normal. Excellent, CJ2 Pilot. Jamar, thank you for that. Chris, welcome. Yep, that's why I couldn't keep doing that. I know we had 330 people in here, and we're very unlikely to get back to those numbers. But I think I owed it to the audience who's going to come back to see it how it's supposed to be put out here. I put a lot of effort into making this look good. And I in my heart, I couldn't keep it like that. So let's go over a real quick analysis, and then we're going to go to the official document. So it's worth having both of these live. So now I retitled it just ever so slightly. And now let's continue. So thank you, everybody. Thank you all so much. You mean so much to me. And the fact I can share this with all of you. And as you can imagine, we're probably going to go well over an hour tonight. We're going to be on for over an hour. We very well might pull into the 8 o'clock hour to see how we turn going into the new flip of the clock. So don't expect to leave at an hour today. That's just, I've already done 35 minutes and that has already been released. So if somebody just wants to come in and see the nuts and bolts, so be it. So XRP is up 21.38% right now. So what is the key areas we have to watch right now? What is the key area? Right now, XRP, we pushed over, which is very important, the rising channel resistance at 61.19 cents. We've gotten a rejection so far at 64.07 cents. That's not bad right now. You're welcome, Mo. I appreciate that you appreciate the fact that I restarted it. I almost felt bad for restarting it because, you know, there were so many people in here. But in good conscience, I can't keep it looking like that. Where the heck is my lighter? Where did my... Oh, there it is. I was going to say, where did it sneak off to? But right now, it's not a bad thing, everybody. It's not a bad thing. Because what happened here is we came up to the cup and handle resistance now. And we're back testing at this very moment in a higher time frame, the 61.1 cents, which is the rising channel resistance. What we very well may have to do in the higher time frame is maybe retest 57.9, but the good news is we technically already have. When we first broke up, we immediately came down to 57.9. So technically we have retested that. Has it been in a higher time frame? No. But we have right now. I mean, Pump Master, that is where we can incite a riot here. The volume, yes, it's come down, everybody, but this is the consolidation part. We can draw out a formation here. We're going to go into the official documents. I'll check it about at 7 o'clock. We'll get back close, you know, near 7, we'll get back into the official document and read it. I just want to make sure everybody gets a chance to come back if they were in here before. If you could do me a huge favor and share this live, it would be tremendous. I would love to get as many as we can get back. We had actually had 408 people before YouTube made me, you know, it interrupted our stream for a second. But we had 338. What in the heck is going on here? You see what's going on? It's so weird. There's some issues right now, I can tell you. I'm trying not to act like it's happening, but there's a little issues right now on TradingView. I'm not sure what is going on. There must be a lot of traffic on TradingView right now. Because look at this, the normal functions aren't working properly. Huh. Alright, I'm not even going to try to draw this out right now. Oh, that's why it was like that. I was going to say something's got to be going on. Good, that was just settings have been reset. So let's try to figure this out in the short term. So we had to push up, resistance, resistance. So I'm going to use these as the resistance right now, right? Can we all agree on that? I think we can. I think we can. And remember, if you're new in here, this is a place of positivity over negativity. We don't do negativity here. We have helpfulness, not hurtfulness. We're winners here, not victims. So we must find all the information on a news and chart from a news and charting perspective to make an educated and informed decision. But remember, we're also the light in here. So there will be darkness that finds its way through. You need the dark to show the light, and you need the light to shine on the dark. The dark will always be distinguished if the light shines through, and the light is love. Love over hate, which is darkness. You don't want to be negative to people. So that's the rule in here. And we have great mods in here to keep that flow going. You know, and if people unsubscribe, I don't care. I just want a place where people can come in and we can universally talk about XRP, cryptocurrency, the ISO tokens, the Internet of Things, and if you're also in here, one thing that I do that's very unique, very, very unique, is I do precious metals as well. And for anybody who's been in here for any length of time, if you've bought when we've bought, you're up so much in precious metals, your head almost popped off. So just pay attention to that route as well, because I know real money, and it's not the currency we hold in our native countries. I can assure you of that. You know, and I'm not afraid to tell you. So anyhow, we're on XRP right now. We're not worried about commodities or precious metals. If you're just tuning in, there's been some breaking news here in the last couple hours. The judge has finally ruled in Ripple's favor. They beat the SEC, and they have to pay a $125 million fine. There's been let's call it an addendum, or a get out of jail free card. The SEC can never go after them again as a security for future happenings, even that might be deemed, you know, against the rules. And we're going to read over it, but they've been deemed that they've basically got the green light here. Institutions now have the green lights. There is a 1 week period now, but we'll go over the official document so you understand what I'm talking about, because I sound like an asshole right now. But this is what we need to hold to continue pushing up. Otherwise, we'll come back down to 57, 58. I know some of you are just expecting this to go crazy, but as I've said many times over, I think the greatest thing that they'll do after the initial surge, I would not be surprised if we have that final back test and double bottom and do all that great stuff here. I don't want that to happen, but yes, with prejudice. Thank you, Daniel. Yes, with prejudice. Absolutely. So just make sure you just understand. But remember, end of this year, or we're almost to the end of the year now. We're in Q3. We've got the real USD, or the RLUSD, the Ripple stablecoin, as one mentioned. We've got real world assets by way of gold and silver tokenization coming to the ledger. This is going to go nuts, folks. If you think you've seen anything, I'm telling you, everybody who sold XRP is going to punch themselves in the face. And it may not be today. It may not even be because of what happens next. Because we might bash ourselves through the wall if something goes down now. But I'm telling you, don't let your emotion do it one way or the other right now. Just stay true. And I'm telling you right now, the amount of liquidity coming into the ledger, even if XRP is just used as a gas token, you don't even understand how high the price can go just on the fact of the liquidity coming in. It would be unbelievable. It's going to be unbelievable. So, and imagine now with this, you think, how long you think it's going to be before an ETF is announced for XRP? That's something that's not spoken of. I'm just saying, there's a lot of stuff that's about to happen. And yes, this is with prejudice, so they can appeal. You know, but there's a 7-day, I believe. We'll go through we'll go over the official documents. So this is all I wanted to show you. Make sure you pay attention to these areas. And then if we look at, you know, a little bit out of the realm of this chart, and we go down here, what we've done right now, we haven't come past 65.2 cents yet. So technically, we haven't even done anything to get excited about yet, because we haven't broke that 65.2 cents. But we've come over the 6.5 year resistance, and we're holding right now. That's why you should be excited. Whoops. That's why you should be excited. Well, let's get rid of these micro numbers, because They're all spoken in other charts, but this is what we're still consolidating within. But be very, very excited because the SEC just bent over. Basically, Ripple just bent the SEC over and laughed at them when they said you get about the $125 million fine. And they said, oh, we'll take that gladly. It's not, did you see how they spun it? That's 94% less than we were supposed to pay. We really showed the in this score. It was funny how they worded it. But so we have that going on. But this is very exciting times here for all of us, I can assure you. This is very exciting times. But wow, 182 of you actually found your way back. I am stunned. Stunned. We got about half of you found your way back. But I really need you to hit that like button, though. That is very true, as some of you are saying. But I am so indebted to all of you for actually coming back. It means a lot. So that's the shorter formation we're in. So just remember this. And this started with the resistance. And we're going to go over the official documents right now, though. This started with this formation. Resistance here at 74.7 in March of 24. And let's clone this one more time. And then we had a support here at 41.5. But let's clone it again. We had a support here in July at 42.6. And back here, what was this? April at 41 cents. And then we bounced off 42.9 cents. We need to get over 65.4 and eventually break that 70.32 cents. That was a pivotal pivot level right there. So make sure to pay attention. But we've been waiting over 3 years since I've been doing this since March of 2021, and I haven't missed a day. So we've been covering this every step of the way. But man, has it been a long, lengthy journey, and I'm just glad we're getting to this point. So here's the official document. I did not lie. And it's a doozy, folks. So by a show of hands, how many of you think we should go through all 16 pages? That's an honest question. And most of you will leave, I get it, because nobody wants to read through the actual truth. But who wants to sit here with me and go through 17 pages or 16 pages? It's either I read it with all of you or I do it with all of you. And that's another reason why I decided at that strategic moment to restart the stream and put it in horizontal. You'll read it now or later. Excellent. Everybody says yes, yes, yes. Okay, United States. Okay, so this is official document 973, filed on August 7th, 2024. And if you want to read this, and I love plugging this guy because this guy's the man. All the ones that are within Ripple that you can see are kind of spewing us the bullshit. The one person I'm telling you right now on Twitter, I fucking love this guy, and I wish he would reach out to me. I really love this guy. If you're watching, Mr. James K. Phelan, you are my favorite in the Ripple community. You don't bullshit it, and you always give me the official documents and everything we need. So everybody, please, go to Twitch, or Twitter, now X, but formerly known as Twitter. Go to James K. Phelan and follow him, for the love of God. And you can get these official documents right through him, and he deserves the follow. So this will be a great way for some of the couple hundred people that are in here. If you're not following him, go follow him. He's the real deal. And he's been around the block. So this is official document 973, filed on August 7th, 2024. And this is official. This isn't me saying it. This isn't us reading some bullshit online, right? These are the official documents. Page 1 of 16. United States District Court, Southern District of New York, and I'm going to go into my reading voice now. So the passion's going to leave me for a minute, but I'm still just as passionate. But I got to get serious now. United States District Court, Southern District of New York, Securities and Exchange Commission, Ripple's Lab, plaintiff is Securities and Exchange Commission against Ripple Labs Inc. Defendant, Annalisa Therese, District Judge. Plaintiff, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, brings this action against defendant, Ripple Labs Inc., alleging that Ripple engaged in the unlawful offer of sale of securities in violation of Section 5 Securities Act of 1933. I don't read any of the addendums or anything that they, tell you so that you can see that they, in fact, this is a law that's been passed at some point in the past. So you can read that for yourself. On July 13, 2023, the court granted in part and denied in part the parties' cross motions for summary judgment. The order ECF number 874 Now before the court is the SEC's motion for remedies and the entries of final judgment. For the reason stated below, the SEC's motion is granted in part and denied in part. This case involves defendants' offer and sale of XRP, the native digital token of the XRP ledger, a cryptographically secured ledger or blockchain order at 2 or December 2022 or December 22nd, 2020. Ripple has also moved to, and this is when they, so you can read that. And we've went over all of this in the past. I've read every single official document verbatim for all of us, and it's been lengthy. The SEC commenced this action. An amended complaint was filed on February 18, 2021, ECF number 46. As relevant here, the SEC alleged that Ripple engaged in 3 categories of unregistered XRP offers and sales. 1. Institutional sales underwritten contracts for which it received $728 million. 2. Programmatic sales on digital asset exchanges for which it received $757 million. And 3. Other distributions underwritten contracts for which it recorded $609 million in consideration other than cash. The Securities and Exchange Commission also alleged that Bradley Garlinghouse and Christian A. Larson, 2 of Ripple's senior leaders, engaged in unregistered individual XRP sales from which they received at least $450 million and $150 million respectively. Under Section 5 of the Securities Act, it is unlawful for any person directly or indirectly to offer to sell, offer to buy or purchase, or sell a security unless a registration statement is in effect or has been filed with the SEC as to offer and sale of such security to the public. And I'm not ignoring everybody, but I'm not going to read the comments because I want to read through this. I'm actually reading them, but I'm not going to read through them unless somebody, joins Tom's Army, sends a donation or something out of the ordinary. I need to read, obviously. To prove a violation of Section 5, the SEC must show that 1, that no registration statement was filed or in effect as to the transaction, and 2, that the defendant directly or indirectly offered to sell or sold the securities. 3, through interstate commerce. See SEC v. Kavanaugh. At summary judgment, the court applying the Supreme Court's test set forth in SEC v. W.J. Howie concluded that Ripple's institutional sales constituted offers or sales of investment contracts, but that Ripple's programmatic sales and or distributions did not. Order at 30. The court has also held that Larson's and Garlinghouse's individual sales were not offers or sales of investment contracts for substantially the same reason stated in the court's analysis of Ripple's programmatic sales. This is page 3 of 16 now. The SEC subsequently moved to certify for interlocutory appeal the court's holdings on programmatic sales and other distributions. The court denied the SEC's motion and set for trial the SEC's claim that Larson and Garlinghouse aided and embedded Ripple's violation of Section 5 with regard to the institutional sales. ECF number 917 by stipulated dated order October 19, 2023. The SEC dismissed its pending claims against Larson and Garlinghouse, obviating the need for a trial. ECF number 921. Now before the court is the SEC's motion for remedies and entry of judgment on Ripple's violation of Section 5 as the institutional sales. The SEC seeks a final judgment against Ripple that 1, permanently enjoins it from future. And this is so important. Oh my God, I almost want to cry when I read this initially before I came on. Oh my God, when I read this part, I couldn't fucking believe it when I seen that this was part of it. Because this basically gives them the get out of jail for, they cannot be, listen to this, in the future, now before the court is the SEC's motion for remedies and entry of judgment on Ripple's violation of the Section 5 to the institutional sales. The SEC seeks a final judgment against Ripple that 1, permanently enjoins it from future violations of Section 5 and from conducting an unregistered offering of XRP and institutional sales. Julie, welcome in, my love, and thank you for being in my army, Tom's Army, for over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. Eat your heart out, everybody. That's the most coveted badge. That one just really shows that you've been around through it all. It really, really does. Fletcher, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 and Moon Badge. Bags ain't packed. Conducting an unregistered offering of XRP and institutional sales. Or Julie's my significant other. What is it? Is that what it's called? For anybody who's new. Sales for institutional sales. 2, orders Ripple to pay $876,308,712 in disgorgement and $198,150,940 in prejudgment interest. And 3, orders Ripple to pay $876,308,712 at civil penalty. Ripple contends that an injunction and disgorgement are unwarranted and any civil penalty should not exceed $10 million. Once a district court has found federal securities law violations, it has broad equitable power to fashion appropriate remedies. Such remedies may include injunctive relief, disgorgement of ill-gotten profits, and civil penalties. Page 4. 1. Injunctive relief. A legal standard. Injunctive relief is expressly authorized by Congress to prescribe futures violations of federal securities laws. If you are coming in here to see me say we're going up 700% and you're new, you are in the wrong place. I'm putting you to school right now. We have to get our education and know what's actually coming. So sit back, relax, and this is going to take a while. Such relief is warranted if there is a reasonable likelihood that a defendant will commit future violations of the security laws. To award injunctive relief, a court must look beyond the mere facts of past violations and demonstrate a realistic likelihood of reoccurrence. To determine whether injunctive relief is appropriate, courts are directed to consider 1. The fact that the defendant has been found liable for illegal conduct. 2. The degree of scienter involved. 3. Whether the infraction is an isolated occurrence, whether defendants continue to maintain that his past conduct was blameless. And 5. Whether, because of his professional occupation, the defendant might be in a position where future violations could be anticipated. B. Application. The SEC asked the court to enjoin Ripple from violating Section 5 and from conducting an unregistered offering of institutional sales of XRP. Ripple argues that SEC has failed to show that an injunction is warranted. The court agrees with the SEC. As to the first and third Kavanaugh factors, Ripple has been found for violating Section 5 in its sales of XRP to institutional buyers. And this is fantastic news, and you'll see why in just a second. And I know it sounds crazy that it's good news, but this is the scenario where the SEC can at least save face, and this is what we needed. These violations were not isolated. They spanned 8 years and involved 41 counterparties. Make it look like they're getting the apparent slap on the wrist. On the second Kavanaugh factor, the degree of scienter, the SEC contends that Ripple violations involved at least a reckless disregard for the law. Welcome in, Simon, and thank you for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Would love to see some new members of Tom's Army as XRP had that eruption. Or just because you love me. You just love me. Serious. That in February 2012, before the XRP ledger was publicly launched, Ripple received a memorandum for the Perkins Coie LLP law firm advising that if it's sold to investors, XRP tokens are likely to be securities. Order at 7 cleaned up. A subsequent Perkins Coie memorandum counseled that although we believe that a compelling argument can be made that XRP tokens do not constitute securities under federal security laws, given the lack of applicable case law, we believe that there is some risk, albeit small, that the SEC disagrees with our analysis. ID at 8 cleaned up. The law firm also advised Ripple that the more it promoted XRP as an investment opportunity, the more likely it is that the SEC will take action. Larson testified that after receiving the second Perkins Coie memorandum, Ripple took steps to ensure compliance with its advice. At summary judgment, the court found that a genuine issue of material fact remained as to whether Larson and Garlinghouse had recklessly disregarded the securities laws. Because the SEC has adduced no new facts to support a finding of reckless at this stage, the court finds that Ripple's scienter is inconclusive. Although the SEC points to Ripple's profit motive to avoid registration and disclosure, SEC Mem 5, this fact alone does not support an inference that Ripple recklessly disregarded regulatory requirements in making its business decisions. Page 6 of 6. Context. The profit motive common to all businesses is insufficient to establish scienter. On the fourth Kavanaugh factor, the defendant's willingness or unwillingness to accept blame, the SEC points to a number of post-order statements made by Ripple and its corporate agents to argue that Ripple has not accepted responsibility for its violations. SEC Mem 6, Ripple in turn notes that it has acknowledged the court's ruling on the institutional sales of each of its quarterly market reports and contends that the other cited statements are taken out of context. Ripple at 14-16 or 14 through 16, having considered the post-order statements, the court does not find that Ripple has continued a campaign of deflecting blame. SEC Mem 6, although Ripple and its employees have largely emphasized the favorable aspects of the order in their public statements, Ripple has also repeatedly acknowledged the court's holding as its institutional sales. Ripple's post-order statements do not rise to the level of blame shifting required to justify injunctive relief based on these factors alone. Defendants continued protestations that his conduct was blameless. Ripple's actions, however, are another story. Relevant to the fourth and fifth Kavanaugh factors, the SEC asserts that Ripple's continue to sell XRP unregistered institutional buyers specifically. And this is why I love that they had the balls to just keep doing it. It makes me laugh in a way. They're just like, who cares? We'll get fined later. We'll deal with it when it happens. And now it is. Specifically in continuing to execute contracts for unregistered sales of XRP and direct on-demand liquidity ODL transactions. SEC Mem at 8, Ripple admits that after the order was issued, it has continued to sell XRP and on-demand liquidity transactions. Also concedes that the order defines institutional sales as including sales to the ODL customers. Page 7 of 16. At 9, however, Ripple argues that its ongoing ODL sales do not have the key characteristics that this court relied on in finding that Ripple's institutional sales were also of investment contracts. Were sales of investment contracts. Not so. Although the court noted that some institutional buyers agreed to lockup provisions or resale restrictions, features inconsistent with the notion that XRP was used as a currency or for some other consumptive use. The court did not hold that a contract lacking these features is ipso facto lawful under Section 5 order at 21 to 22. While at the same time suggesting that remedies briefing is not the same, or the time or place, to analyze the ODL transactions in detail. Ripple op at 9, the company cannot have it both ways. To be clear, the court does not today hold that Ripple's post-complaint sales have violated Section 5. Rather, the court finds that Ripple's willingness to put, and this is the money shot of the entire findings. They're actually, like we've stated many times over, Ripple's actually being rewarded right here for pushing the boundaries and forcing the SEC to actually, this is the best part right here. Jedi, thanks for tuning in and being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. The money shot, everybody. Ready? To be clear, the court does not today hold that Ripple's post-complaint sales have violated Section 5. Rather, and this is a big kick in the dick, to, excuse my French, to Gary Gensler, the SEC. Rather, the court finds that Ripple's willingness to push the boundaries of the order evinces a likelihood that it will eventually, if it has not already, cross the line. On balance, the court finds that there is a reasonable probability of future violations meriting the issuance of an injunction. Turning to the scope of the injunction, Ripple first contends that Part 1 of the SEC's proposed judgment, which permanently restrains and enjoins Ripple from violating Section 5 of the Securities Act, proposed judgment at 2 is an unhelpfully vague directive not to violate the law. Ripple op at 16. But the Second Circuit has found that an injunction that merely parrots statutory language is proper. Page 8. Courts in this circuit routinely impose such injunctions in securities cases. Ripple also argues that Part 2 of the proposed judgment, which enjoins it from conducting an unregistered offering of institutional sales, proposed judgment at 3. I commend 209 of you for sticking this out. This is unbelievable. That's awesome. Because this is what you need to know. Proposed judgment at 3 should be altered to clarify that it does not bar ODL sales, does not bar extraterritorial conduct, and does not bar sales that qualify for exemptions from registration. Ripple op at 17. Yes, sir, David. Oh, I'm waiting, Jeffrey, for Korean markets. I am waiting. The court agrees that the SEC's proposed language is too categorical. I can't even say it right now. And in any case, duplicative of behavior prescribed by Part 1 of the proposed judgment, the court will therefore omit the SEC's proposed Part 2. Finally, Ripple asked the court to waive the bad actor disqualification provisions of 230 point, which prevent an enjoined suer from using the SEC's Regulation D exemption for certain private securities offerings. Ripple op at 17. Although the court has the discretion to do so, Ripple cites no authority that persuades the court that judicial waiver is necessary or appropriate here. Accordingly, the SEC request for injunctive relief is granted, and the court will impose a permanent injunction consistent with Part 1 of the proposed judgment. 2. Disgorgement. 8. Legal standard. In addition to injunctive relief, a district court may also order disgorgement, which serves to remedy securities law violations, depriving violators of the fruits of their illegal conduct. Disgorgement is an equitable remedy permissible only where it does not exceed a wrongdoer's net profits and awarded for victims. Following Liu, the Second Circuit clarified the meaning of victims in SEC v. Govil. There, the defendant caused his company to engage in 3 fraudulent security offerings, representing to investors that the company would use the proceeds from the transactions to satisfy outstanding debts and for general corporate purposes. Instead, he diverted over $7.3 million of the offering proceeds to his own private accounts. The district court determined that disgorgement was warranted, reasoning that the defrauded investors were victims of the defendant's conduct because they were lied to, even if they may not have been financially harmed. As a result of the lie, the Second Circuit reversed, holding that a victim for the purposes of is one of who suffers pecuniary harm for the securities fraud. The circuit explained that an equitable remedy is meant to restore the status quo in the context of disgorgement by returning the funds to victims, allowing defrauded investors who suffered no pecuniary harm to receive the proceeds of disgorgement. The circuit reason would confer a windfall on those who received the benefit of the bargain. Therefore, for purposes of ordering disgorgement, it is not enough that investors are lied to and that thus denied the right to make an informed decision when considering whether to make an investment. Offending that the right does not result in pecuniary harm. Page 10. B. Application. The parties dispute whether the circuit's decision in Govil bars disgorgement of Ripple's profits from institutional sales. The court finds that it does. The SEC contends that ordering disgorgement would not run afoul of Govil because Ripple's violations of Section 5 via entirely tainted transactions caused pecuniary harm to investors. SEC Memo 17 specifically, the SEC argues that Ripple sold XRP to certain institutional buyers at deep undisclosed discounts as high as This is where I got pissed at Ripple for agreeing to these amendments. Wouldn't you like to know the percentage? Was it a 25% discount, 99.9% discount, 1% discount, 50% discount? How high is the discount? As high as black. At 18, because Ripple failed to publicly register these discounted institutional sales, the SEC argues that despite retail buyers being bent over the barrel and paying unceremoniously high prices, non-favored investors were deprived of the information they needed to determine whether Ripple was treating them, and worse off, were still being deprived of the percentage. It's bullshit. Excuse my French. Treating them worse, and whether they could purchase XRP at a better price. The SEC estimates that if Ripple had disclosed its significant discounts to other investors, non-favored investors could have saved potentially more than... Hell, why should we know how much we got screwed out of, right? Why should we care? The only two amendments in this entire fucking 10 pages so far is the amount of the discount and how much we could paid more than we should have. How awesome is that? The SEC further contends that the discounted sales caused pecuniary harm by putting downward pressure on the market price of the XRP, as investors who bought discounted XRP could sell for below market prices and still profit. Galvo forecloses this argument. The SEC contends that Ripple appears to have not uniformly disclosed disparate prices and discounts offered to institutional buyers. The circuit held, however, that the right to make an informed decision when considering whether to make an investment is not a property interest that can be vindicated through disgorgement. As Ripple argues, many of the Galvo investors would have likely been dissuaded from investing, or at least valued the shares at a lower price, had they known that the company's founders intended to pocket the funds for his own use. Yet the circus found that pecuniary harm... Yes, sir, Oliver, I am still going. We've been on for an hour and 21 minutes. It's just split into two different lives because I put it in vertical on the first one and I reset it to horizontal. Yet the circus found that pecuniary harm requirements was not satisfied, as the page 11 district, and this is page 11 of 16, district court acknowledged that the investors received the return on the investment contemplated. So let me guess that the next part is going to be what we could have saved as well. That's blacked out, of course, contemplated at the outset. Here the SEC offers only speculative evidence that the institutional buyers did not receive the return on the investment contemplated, noting that whether the investors actually suffered pecuniary harm would depend on the type of securities held, the terms of those securities, and when those securities were sold, a level of detail missing from the record in Godville. The SEC's estimate of lost potential savings come from an analysis conducted by SEC accountant Andrea Fox, who calculated how much less institutional buyers in the aggregate would have paid for XRP if the best price offered to institutional buyers had been obtained for every institutional buyer. But the SEC does not and cannot establish that Ripple would have in fact offered any additional discounts to investors had it complied with Section 5's registration requirements. It is possible that some investors could have demanded and potentially paid lower prices. SEC Amendment 18, yet it is at least equally possible that Ripple would have opted to offer fewer and smaller discounts overall, which is what would have happened. Think about it. You're trying to get the institutions to back it. That's what's really going on here. Take your emotion out of it and the jokes that I was making. There's a reason why they offered it cheaper to institutions. Just think about it for the grand scheme. Explaining that and all the risk they took up front. Explaining that the unregistered shares are generally worth less than their registered counterparts. The fact that some investors may have been able to negotiate better deals if discounts offered to others were disclosed as required. SEC Mem at 19 does not establish that they suffered pecuniary harm, but, pecuniary harm by paying the sticker price. Noting that in fraud on the market cases, an inflated purchase price will not itself constitute this is page 12, approximately cause the relevant economic loss. Relying on SEC versus Ahmed, the SEC also argues that disgorgement is appropriate because Ripple's failure to disclose the discounts tainted each of the institutional sales. In Ahmed, the investment manager defendant stole over $65 million from his employer and 10 portfolio companies, including by negotiating transactions in which had an undisclosed conflict of interest. This is apples to oranges. It makes no sense to even compare it. The Second Circuit found that the conflicted transactions were entirely tainted, holding that the defendant was obligated to disgorge the full amount he received. But the circuit's inquiry into the permissible amount of disgorgement sheds little light on the threshold question here, whether the SEC has shown pecuniary harm at all such that disgorgement is warranted. In Ahmed, which involved the defendant's knowing misappropriation of millions of dollars from his employer, there was no question that the employer had suffered an economic loss. Here, pecuniary harm is far less apparent, because binding circuit precedent... Oh, that's a terrible way to look at it, X-Roke, and you're going to be sadly bent over a railing if that's your emotion already coming out. You've got so much to learn, my friend. Sit back, relax, and you may want to smoke a cigar or something, because it's going to be a while. Circuit precedent precludes disgorgement based on the facts of this case. The SEC's request for disgorgement and prejudgment interest, remember everybody, is denied. Ripple owes you nothing. XRP owes us nothing. You only think it owes you something, so don't let your emotion dictate how quickly you think this is going to move. They owe you absolutely, positively nothing. 3. Civil penalties. A. Legal standard. The SEC is also authorized to seek the imposition of civil monetary penalties, which serve the dual goals of punishment of the individual violator and deterrence of future violations. Courts can impose penalties in civil injunctive actions not to exceed the greater of the gross pecuniary gain to a defendant as the result of the violations, or II, a specified amount per violation, depending on whether the violation falls in the first, second, or third penalty tier. A court may impose a first-tier penalty for any violation of the Exchange or Securities Acts, a second-tier penalty if the violation involved fraud, deceit, manipulation, or deliberate or reckless disregard of a regulatory requirement, and a third-tier penalty if, in addition to meeting the second-tier requirement, the violation directly or indirectly resulted in substantial losses or created a significant risk of substantial losses to other persons. Because the term violation is not defined by the statutory scheme, courts have discretion to determine the unit of violation for the purposes of imposing civil penalties under the tier method. Although gross pecuniary gain or the tier determines the maximum penalty, the actual amount of the penalty is left up to the discretion of the district court. In determining the appropriate penalty, courts may consider factors including 1. The egregiousness of the defendant's conduct. 2. The degree of the defendant's scienter. 3. Whether the defendant's conduct created substantial losses or the risk of substantial losses to other persons. And this starts page 14 of 16. 4. Whether the defendant's conduct was isolated or recurrent. And 5. Whether the penalty should be reduced due to the defendant's demonstrated current and future financial conditions. The civil penalty for a securities fraud offense needs to be proportional to the disgorgement amount. The court may also consider the extent to which the other aspects of its relief and or judgment issued in this matter will have the desired punitive effect. The SEC asked the court to impose a penalty of $876,308,712, equal to the net profits it calculates for the institutional sales. Ripple argues that a penalty of no more than $10 million or about of Ripple's actual gross revenue. See, I don't understand why we can't see their gross revenue. That's what pisses me off here. From pre-complaint institutional sales is appropriate. Ripple op at 30 citation omitted. The court finds that a first tier, and as a holder of XRP, I should be privy to this information. It's bullshit that I'm not. I'm an investor and I'm a holder in the company. Well, technically not the company. Technically there are apples to oranges because it's XRP, Ripple, blah, blah, blah. First tier penalty is appropriate in this case, which involves no allegations of fraud, deceit, or manipulation, and conclusively established deliberate or reckless disregard of a regulatory requirement. Although Ripple's gross pecuniary gain from the institutional sale sets a higher statutory ceiling, the court finds that the tier analysis method more closely tailors the penalty to the scope of Ripple's actual wrongdoing than the party's virtually all or nothing request. As to the amount of the penalty, the court has discussed the second and fourth Rajaratman, I don't know where they get this stuff, factors which overlap with the factors relevant to the injunctive relief above. See Supra Part IB. On the first factor, the egregiousness of Ripple's conduct, there is no question that the recurrent highly lucrative violations of Section 5 is a serious offense. However, this case, and we're on page 15 of 16 now, does not involve allegations of fraud, misappropriation, or other more culpable conduct. Relatively, as to the third factor, the SEC has not established that Ripple's failure to register the institutional sales caused substantial losses, or the risk thereof to investors. See Super Part 2.B. And on the fifth factor, Ripple does not contest that its current financial condition does not merit reduced penalty. See Ripple Op at 2829. Beyond the Raja factors, the court considers that Ripple will not be ordered to pay disgorgement, which dictates in favor of a larger penalty to accomplish the desired punitive effect. The court finds, therefore, that a per violation penalty at the first tier maximum is appropriate. The final step is to define and count the violations involved in the institutional sales because Section 5's registration requirement is transaction specific. It follows that each unregistered transaction constitutes a separate violation of statute. The SEC suggests that each of Ripple's 1,700 relevant contracts constitutes a separate violation. Ripple responds that 1,700 relevant contracts figure includes hundreds of contracts related to programmatic sales and other distributions which should be excluded. Ripple Op at 19 and 20, but Ripple does not offer its own tabulation of the relevant contracts. And the SEC does not respond to Ripple's contention to it in its reply brief. Based on the court's independent analysis of Ripple's expert report summarizing the relevant contracts, the court finds that 1,278 transactions violated Section 5, resulting in civil penalty of $35,150. Accordingly, the SEC's request for a civil, and this is page 16 of 16, so $125,035,150. Accordingly, the SEC request for a civil monetary penalty is granted, in part, and the court will impose a penalty of $125,035,150. The SEC motion for remedies and entry of final judgment is granted in part and denied in part. The court shall enter a final judgment enjoining Ripple from further violations of the security laws and imposing a civil penalty of $125,035,150. The clerk of the court is directed to terminate the motions at ECF NOS 943, 948, 951, dated August 7, 2024, New York, New York, signed by Annalisa Perez, the United States District Judge. That means they can no longer ever come after Ripple again after this penalty is paid. So once this penalty is paid and the check is cashed, there is now a final judgment enjoining Ripple from further violations, because they already noted in here, if you were watching the whole thing, that they expect that Ripple has and will violate further security laws by pushing the bill, but the court appreciates the fact that Ripple is pushing the merits. So that is fantastic news. That is absolutely fantastic news. Right now, Ripple's pushed back below the rising channel resistance, so that is not so good news. That is not so good news. So, Chris, this is exactly what I told everybody was going to happen. Once the actual news came out, we were going to get a quick 25, 30, maybe even 40% move, but I fully expected it to come back down and us to sit around for a while. Now, whether that means we can sit around here and then bounce back up, I didn't think we were just going to go 100, 500% right off the bat. I thought we'd get the initial surge. Everybody's excited. But remember, a lot of people are just going to keep selling out now. A lot of things are going to happen. A lot of things have to happen. Ripple needs to pay the fine now. So that means get ready for $125 million worth of Ripple sell-off here. Don't forget that. Tom, 1200, thank you for the $50 donation. Holy schmoles. Wow, Tom. I know we share the same name, but I am truly honored and blessed that you would share $50 with a fellow Tom. What a great Tom we have in the audience. But yeah, so I would not be mad that it's doing this. You want this, you don't want this to rally all at once. We need to back test every step of the way. Everything else though, guys, if you copy trade me, I'm looking at Ethereum because remember the ETF is still out. And we're waiting for that perfect re-entry here. And I'm looking at 1,683. If it comes down there, I'm going to knock your socks off with what we're going to make on that next move. If you are copy trading me, we're up 133% on our $100 chance, so I'm very happy about that. If you're looking to trade XRP, look in the video description below and join the next frontier. Whether you join BitUnix or Hotcoin, either way, they have very low spot and leverage trading fees, the lowest you'll find worldwide. And you don't need a VPN or KYC, which is a huge selling point. KYC only if you send or receive from a bank account. And you should want to use it in that case. So get your stuff set right now. Well, they're going to have to sell XRP to pay the fine. Absolutely, free toast. I don't know how else they're going to. They're certainly not going to take it out of their own pockets. And I'm not trying to be a dick to you. I was just saying. I don't see them taking it out of their own pockets personally. So what do I expect? The price to go down a little bit. I'm not being a dick. I'm not. Just hear me out. We got rejected at 64.5. Or 64 cents, which was the cup and handle resistance. Right now we're below the rising channel resistance at 61.1. I want to see a back test in a higher time frame and sue me. I want to see a higher time frame back test of 57.9. You can hate me all you want. But that's what I want. And the 2-hour volume crashed after the initial news. Absolutely, Chris. You're 100% right about that. Cruise. I know they won't sell it for the lawsuit, but don't you think they're going to add how much they lock up 1 month or actually sell back into escrow? Don't you think they're going to keep $125 million worth going forward? They're certainly not going to say we're using these sales to pay for the lawsuit judgment, but they're going to get their money back one way or the other. Remember, there's still 56 billion tokens locked up. They won't sell it so they can sell it. Yes, yep, thank you, Free Toast. I wish I would have had I wish I would have been suave enough to say it like that. I really do, because you said it in the perfect way. Beautiful. So, right now we're either going to keep that 61.1 cents and push up, or cruise it is. Ultimately it is. I'm just saying. Just understand where they're getting the money. So, I'm excited, but right now, I'm tamed. Because I know, for one, even with the big surge, we didn't break 65 cents, which is interesting. Because that keeps that topping formation still in effect. But that volume spike is fantastic. Absolutely not, Barry. No, sir. Nope. Not yet. Remember, there's I believe, and I don't even think it mentioned appeal, but I know that you have it would be awesome, George, if they did, but I don't know, because there is speculation of a 7-day appeal process, but it didn't say anything about a 7-day appeal process, did it? In the whole 16 pages, did it say anything about an appeal? I really don't think it did. I really don't think it did. Yes, BitUnix is fantastic. I use it on my phone and on my tablet, the app. For that matter, BitUnix and Hotcoin has an app. They both work great. I forgot to tell everybody that there are apps. 60 days XRP Ricky Ripple. Where did you see that information? Because I didn't see it in the 16 pages we read, so I need to know so that I can find it. I've been a little tied up in the live, so if you know where that information's at, other than a YouTuber saying it, please let me know. Because I just read through the 16-page official document and it didn't have one mention of an appeal. I don't want to break everybody's heart, but I said this was going to happen. The initial dump down after this rise up, so please don't break my balls here. Or say I'm trying to be negative. I'm telling you what has to happen. Oh, this is beautiful. Steel, SEC has 60 days to appeal. Section 201.3, paragraph 3, page 505. Okay, beautiful. Thank you, Ed. Technically, yes, we won. But until those 60 days are up, now that we know it's 60 days, and kudos to you, Steel, for giving me that. Oh my God, what a beautiful soul you are. I'm screenshotting that. So I have this forever and ever knowing that you sent me that, Steel. Thank you so much. Seriously, like you have no idea how helpful you are. And remember, guys, did we go any higher than we crashed, or is this a little kick in the nuts? Because weren't we just at 60 and 63 cents? And now, didn't we just return back to where we were at before the dump just a couple days ago? So it's pretty interesting. It's been interesting, but, you know, I come on and I speak the real, and a lot of times people leave because I don't just say we're going to go up 8,000%. But I'm being honest with you. If you stick around, you're going to learn a lot. We're going to continue following this developing story here. We're going to go through some key facts. I even told you on B2 Gold that I didn't think it was going to go up, and I said, I think it's going down to $2.55, and I sold it at $3. And I even said I didn't think when it went to $2.85 it was going to keep going, and now it came down to $2.74. I really think it's coming down to $2.55, and I'll react appropriately. I had $7,000 invested, 2,500 shares from around $2.50-something this time around. Initially, I sold it at $3.10, bought it back at $2.83, and sold it at $3, initially intending on rebuying it back at $2.78. But with what I seen, I said, ain't no way I'm buying this back, and I'll buy it back at $3 before I buy it here if it breaks through, just so I can make sure. I hang around because I can tell you know what you're analyzing, and it's based on facts. Keep it up. Diamus, oh my goodness. Thank you so much for that. Oh my God, thank you so much for that vote of confidence. Like that, you guys don't understand, but when people send me like that kind of stuff, it really makes my ego not go up because I'm very humble, but it stokes my confidence. It does. It stokes my confidence. I know what I'm talking about because of what my life has turned into over the last 7 years. I know I understand the difference between currency and money because of the disparity between cash that I hold between bank or cash or whatever form, and my amount of precious metal holdings, or the fact that I put a huge stake into commodities and I couldn't give a rat's ass about the actual stock market outside of it where I can get a dividend. I understand crypto is like real money because you can use it borderless just like gold and silver. It's just easier to move, but a lot more volatility, a lot more risk reward. But I believe used and perfected in a proper manner with gold and silver, if done appropriately, you can make a bunch of money like I have. And I'm not a millionaire, but my house is paid off. I live comfortably. I haven't gone to a real job since before COVID. So, you know, it does pay its dividends. So, and this is before I started YouTube. So this is what I do every single day. So I have a lot of knowledge, and I taught myself. So there's something to be said about that. But it's all about this diligency, guys. We have to be diligent because everything doesn't just happen overnight. But if you do it properly with gold, silver, and precious metals, and with cryptocurrency, what's the number one thing I've always taught you? If you're selling out of something because you think we're going into another bear cycle, you get rid of those profits and you buy gold and silver at the appropriate levels. Bars of gold and silver, silver rounds, gold rounds, silver bars, or gold bars. Forget that fancy bullshit. Just buy real precious metals, the real silver and gold. You don't want the collectible stuff, just the real stuff. Troy ounces is all you're looking for. And then you invest it, and then you can't lose those profits. And then when you reinvest, it should be lower than where you sold, and it should be a lot lower for the fact you're not just reinvesting as it goes down for corrections. You can rebuy back in, and that's exactly what we did. That's the structure I showed everybody in 21. I think you all understand it now 3.5 years later. But I made 16,000 roughly, 12,000 in profit in that nice cycle of 21 with just about 3,500 invested. But when I sold out, I got hit with about $1,000 selling fee on Uphold, which really opened my eyes to crypto. I took $10,000 in profits and invested it in gold and silver when it went down to gold around 1700 and silver anywhere between 16 and 22. And then I built back up a little bit through trading the 3,500. We had a nice swing trade on XRP. We had a nice swing trade on a couple others. And I had built it to about 5,000 and I reinvested. But I didn't have to put anything else on the exchange. And I have all that money safe in precious metals. And every time I made profits, I rinse and repeat and showed everybody I'd go on. I even did a silver stacking series. And it's just incredible what you can achieve. You know, when you start to have a real mindset. So instead of putting the money in the bank because it's not money, it's currency, you actually turn it into real money, gold and silver. And now that money's, look, some I bought in front of you guys, 1700 just a few short years ago. Gold's at 2,385. That means every ounce I bought, I mean, think about it, is up $600 an ounce from that point. Silver, even though it's retraced, it's at $26.64. I was buying between 16 and 22. So all of that is even up, and silver's gonna go nuts here soon. Wait until we have a rate cut here. What do you think's gonna happen? Is it any coincidence that this is all coming out before the rate cut? Before all that liquidity comes to the ledger? Institutions are chomping at the bit. I believe they're just waiting for that 60 days to pass here. Yep, I agree, Daniel. Month or two away for alt season. Let's see the news that's coming out right now on XRP. We already read the 16-page report. So we all know the 125 million fine. And if you want to watch it from the beginning, about 7 minutes in, and I go through all 16 pages of the official document. All the paid XRP pumpers will now need a new day job. Absolutely. Everybody who falsely pushes this, eventually, most of you guys are going to end up coming here and staying. My destiny is to be the #1 watched person when it comes to XRP technical analysis and news, because I'm a trusted source. I'm my own source. I'm not bought and paid for. I don't do any paid promotions or advertising. You know, so I think I do this for a reason. I don't, did I come out here and say XRP is about to go up 8 billion%? No. Would I like to see it? Damn right I would. I own XRP and a nice amount of it. Let's see what the whales are buying right now. So at 6:09 p.m., this will be good. Ripple jumps 18% as whales buy the XRP dip. And I appreciate reports that don't talk about a lot of stuff. You know, about a lot of the stuff that's going on. A brief period of whale activity has sent the price of Ripple's XRP up 18%. And this was before the recent push. So let's see where whales are at. According to data by the token, began to rise on Monday at 1329 UTC, and over the course of the next 24 hours, it's up 18%. So they knew. They knew. 18% rise in whales buying just before the settlement was announced publicly. Or not settlement. But remember, even I've been saying, by virtue, this case wouldn't end by a settlement. It would be if Ripple agrees to what the judge says. And this is exactly what I've been talking about. According to data by the token, we see 18%. It has held the fort for the last 24 hours. A sign of growing stability and investor confidence in Ripple's payment-focused cryptocurrency. Dip buyers bundled in ahead of the United States on Thursday. Items on the agenda include various topics concerning settlement, which are likely to concern Ripple, as the XRP maker has been fending off an SEC lawsuit. So now we already know what happened there. So, beautiful news. Oh, thank you. Sorry. Yeah. In a certain sense. From a liquidity standpoint. But that XRP could, Julie had a great question. She said, could XRP be affected by the war? Absolutely. And it could be a negative effect, Julie. Because if liquidity pours out because people want to get their cash, you know, and they're afraid that we're going to have a liquidity crunch or bank failures, they very well might sell out their cryptocurrency, and we could have a price decline very quickly. And it would quickly catch back up, but it very well could happen. You know, and if we have a broader sell down, it could also happen. So yeah, and fear and uncertainty with world things, absolutely. I've never seen XRP hype like the last few months. I knew it was coming, especially with all the whales buying. Absolutely. It was just off the chain XRP whale buying. I kept pinpointing it, and it was for a reason. I kept saying I'm getting sick of talking about the whales, but they were everywhere. Oh, JWH bar, you said, is he the one who said it's looking bad? Yeah. But can you take a look? Yeah. JW, Juju's got your back. Julie's got your back. She said that you were looking. I thought I seen somebody say it. I just didn't know who said it. So yes, JW. Who? What?
Then somebody said H bar is rumored to be fake.
H bar is not fake. I can assure you. H bar, if you're somebody who believes in let's just say global currencies in different parts of the world, like for world governments, H bar has already been tapped by several different governments. Let's just put it in the South Africa region. Just look in that region. It's not fake. I don't believe it's fake. You know, that's just my own personal opinion. But H bar. Oh, yes. Oh my God, H bar is finally. I'm going to get rid of some of these small areas. H bar is finally getting below some of these long-standing short-term consolidations that could actually bring us to the final price floor. It has taken forever. Look at that rejection, a firm rejection there that we got, so we knew we were screwed. Let's look at the technical target. I'm going to re-put that out. I remember when I used to have it out here, and people were so pissed. But now we might be able to start working down, and it's not a pretty target. Like, if you're not for the faint of heart. And, you know, now that we're down here, we can finally, and it wasn't for the faint of heart. Look how far we had to come down. But now that we're down here, we can start being real here with that with the H bar. This is fantastic. It's been months, years. It feels like it's been forever. Look at this. We've been waiting since 2022 to get this, to finally finish this. And now if it breaks below, oh my God. Oh my God, would this be crazy if it breaks below this. JW, thank you for bringing up H bar. This is a perfect time to talk about it. Perfect time. Man, this is a tricky one though, because I had it in the monthly. But how are we actually supposed to look at this in a real favorable way? I have it in the monthly looking at it this way. I guess we'll just hold firm. But that's in the monthly sense. So that's a longer way, just so we can see the downtrending resistance from way up top. And we'll get back to XRP. Don't think we're even close to talking. We still got to talk about that. Ooh. And I don't know what H bar is trying to prove here, but it's getting close to making too big of a zesty rundown. I'm just saying, it's getting too. It might get a little too zesty, but I mean, if you're buying support, selling resistance, this is right on support from this level. But man, that's been an epic come down for H bar. About what? I can't keep him to myself. He is a gem to be shared with the world. Oh, sorry, I've been talking because I've been trying to do all of this. But hey, if you guys love my work, consider joining Tom's Army. I was hoping to get one new member of Tom's Army today, but we got 0. It's okay. It's okay. We had some very generous donations, so don't feel like you have to subscribe to Tom's Army because I said that. I'm just happy everybody's here, enjoying this unprecedented moment with me. No, I'm almost done, Julie. I'm going to get off here, actually. Everybody knows. I've been on I did 35 minutes on the other video. An hour and 10 minutes here. No, it's not Julie's fault. And guess what? The reason I'm going to stop here, but that's what you're looking at for H bar right now. So You're actually at the support structure. If it breaks through, it's going to be very, very, very interesting for the H-bar. But I'm probably going to come back tonight, everybody. I'm probably going to do an early AM live at like 12 a.m. So, seriously, everybody, thank you all. XDC on the way out. Maybe I'll look at Quant tonight. Remember when everybody laughed at me when I said I was going to hit, I wouldn't buy it or even think about it, and I would start looking at it at $54? Did everybody see where it actually hit? Yep. The news is absolutely tarnished on the news of the 60 days. Because guess what? There's 60 days to appeal this. So now institutions that would have bought in right now, they're going to wait to see what the SEC does. So now we've got 2 months here. Remember, I said until the end of 24 that we probably wouldn't get it. So here, that's what was going on here. I told you guys. Don't get too psyched out about the initial move. I was not being a dick about it. I know what I'm seeing. You know, so we'll be back here in a little bit. I'll be back here in a few hours. I can almost guarantee it. Make sure to hit that like button. I'm going to go back to Julie. She deserves, and the kids deserve to see me. So have a blessed evening, everybody. Thank you all. I just wanted to wait. Hold on. I want to wait until 8 to see how quickly. So 5 minutes, Julie. You got to give me 5 minutes. Only because I want to do one thing, and then we'll see 8 o'clock. Ladies and gentlemen, even though it is not the worst of times today, we just got some unsavory news, as we know, that if there's a 60-day appeal loophole here for the SEC. So even though some of you might be feeling dark and gloomy, even though we might see a little bit of a drop here, ladies and gentlemen, going back to 2021, there's always been one way to put a smile on our face. Ladies and gentlemen, the sunny days are here again. Oh, sunny days. Oh, what a day. Oh, sunny days. Oh, what a day. I wear glasses 'cause I can't see a motherfucking thing. Happy days. Oh, happy days. Oh, what a day. Oh, happy days. Oh, what a day. XRP will reign supreme. Let's just not get caught in the FUD. Oh, we're gonna crash, and we did, and we rose, and we dropped, and we rose, and we dropped, and we got up, and we fell, and we came, and we went, and we went, and we went, and we came, and we went. Oh yeah. Stay true. Stay blessed. God, I love that son. Look how good he's gotten over the last 3 years. Where is that son at now? Where did he go? Was he on the DXY? No, I think he was on the Dow. Maybe the Dow got rid of him. It's like, get this son off of here. I think the sun's getting better. And look it, guys, I never delete it. I just keep moving it back down. Look, there's the sun there at one time. That was one of the suns. This was the other. Today's was exceptionally well. We've got some suns over here. We got some suns over here. We got some suns everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't think we've been doing this for a while, the suns are everywhere. It's a beautiful day. We got the suns everywhere. XRP at least thought we won, and now we got a 60-day waiting period. So it's not that we didn't win, but you know that's exactly what could. Look at the instability on the markets now. We going topless in South Korea. Buys like I think. Love it. Love it. So everybody, I say I'm leaving and everybody leaves. Nobody stays. But all right, guys, we're going to go. I will be back later on, and hopefully we don't fall a cliff before then. Stay blessed.